Today we're going to kind of just quickly go over and recap what we've been learning about variables and algebraic expressions and how to evaluate them. So a variable, again, is going to be a symbol that represents an unknown quantity. An algebraic expression, such as something like n plus 2, is going to be an expression that contains variables, numbers, and at least one operation. So like in n plus 2, n is our variable, but this would be an algebraic expression. So in algebra, we have, again, expressions with variables. Remember, we're going to often omit the multiplication sign. So we have 6d is 6 times d, nst is, or 9st, sorry, is 9 times s times t, m times n is mn. Remember, a to the third power, that actually means a times a times a when I have my exponents. You'll notice on here that the number part is called the coefficient, and the coefficient is normally written in front. So I would say 6d. And remember, if I have something like y divided by 2, I can write it as y divided by 2 or y times 1/2, but I'm mainly going to do y over 2 as a fraction. So when I want to evaluate things, okay, evaluate means that I want to find the value of an expression. I always perform the given operation to find the value of an expression. That's known as finding the answer. So for an example, if I was told 4a plus 5, and I want to evaluate that if a equals 3. So this means that I'm going to substitute in a 3 wherever I see the letter a. So I have 4, and then wherever I see an A, I'm going to put a 3 and then a plus 5. However, this doesn't really mean 43. Okay, what does it mean when I have 4 next to a letter? It means I'm going to multiply. So this is going to actually mean 4, sorry, can't find where to put the x, 4 times 3. So 4a means 4 times a, so 4 times 3 plus 5. Well, what is 4 times 3? 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 5 equals 17. So I could evaluate that to equal 17. So I'm just going to plug in the numbers and solve to find the answers. Again, before we get started though, just keep reminding you, instead of writing x times 3, that looks funny, I could write x dot 3. I can write it using parentheses, but what you're going to see most of the time is you're going to see it written as 3x. Again, when I'm dealing with division, instead of writing 35 divided by y, I'd write that as 35 over y as a fraction. And they almost always put the number written first when you're multiplying. So if I look at this table, okay, this time I'm going to give you the algebraic expression. So if this is what w equals, and I have the expression w divided by 11, well, if w equals 55, this would be 55 divided by 11 equals 5. But now w I'm saying equals 66. So now I'm going to plug in 66 for w. So 66 divided by 11 equals 6. Okay, well, what about now if w equals 77? So I would do 77 divided by 11 equals 7. So every time, wherever I see w, I'm just putting a different number in its place. Let's look at this table now. If I have 4n plus 5, so again, this means I'm going to do 4 times n plus 5. So if I have n equals 1, I would have done 4 times 1 plus 5. Well, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 5 equals 9. Okay, but now what about if n equals 2? I would do 4 times 2 plus 5. Order of operations tells me to do 4 times 2 first, which is 8. 8 plus 5 equals 13. I'm pretty sure we already did this problem, but let's just do it again. If I have 4n plus 5 and n equals 3, again, that means I would do 4 times 3 plus 5. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 5 equals 17 again. So that's how I would evaluate. Some of the problems you're going to see today are going to look more like this. I kind of want to go through and show you how to do these. So if I have m minus 5 and then a semicolon and it says m equals 15.3. So what I would need to do here is I would just need to, this is telling me the semicolon is going to separate the expression from what I'm going to be substituting in for the variable. So if m equals 15.3, I would do 15.3 minus 5, and that would equal 10. I don't really need a calculator for that one because the numbers work out pretty nicely, but feel free to be using a calculator or some scratch paper if you need to while you do these problems. These are not all going to be mental math problems. Okay, if I look at this one on here, if I have x plus 2.3, and then the semicolon is going to end the expression, and now x is going to equal 7.6. So instead of x, I'm going to write 7.6 plus 2.3, and that would equal 9.9 when I do my math. Okay, this one I'm going to have you guys solve in the video here. So if I have 18 minus e and e equals 8, take a minute to type in the box what you would get when you evaluate that expression, replacing the e with the number 8. Okay, hoping you guys all did 18 minus 8 equals 10, and you guys were able to get 10 for your solution there. We are going to do a little bit of work with fractions. Okay, if I have 2/3 b, so this would mean when b equals 9, I'm going to do 2/3. This is kind of hard to do on my computer, so we'll kind of just give me a second to kind of get this set up here. So if I have 2/3, and we're going to have to just kind of quickly make our fraction like this. I'm sorry, this is taking me a little longer to do here. And I'm going to do 2/3 times 9. Well, when I multiply with fractions, okay, the 9 is actually more like 9 over 1. When I look at this on here, I'm going to multiply across my numerators. I'm going to multiply across my denominators. So when I do 2 times 9, I get 18 for my numerator, and I'm going to get a 3 as my denominator. So I get 18 over 3. Well, when I go through and I do that math, 18 divided by 3 is 6 when I simplify that down. Okay, my last one, I have 2k over 4. So if 10 equals, or k equals 10, how I would set this up is I would have 2 times 10 in my numerator, and then I would have 4 still in my denominator. So when I go to do this and I go to actually solve this, I'm going to do all of my work in my numerator first and simplify that down. So my numerator, 2 times 10 equals 20. My denominator is still 4. Now remember what we learned in algebra, that a fraction bar is actually like a division symbol. So now I need to do, well, what is 20 divided by 4? Well, 20 divided by 4 is 5. So my final solution would be that this would equal 5. Okay, you guys are going to be doing some problems in Edulastic today. I just wanted to reiterate, I wrote this in the directions. This is just practice problems. I know we normally use that for testing quizzes. This is not a test or a quiz. It is just simple practice problems, just like you were filling out a Google form or a worksheet. Okay, try your best on it. Hopefully it all goes well. Bye.